Terror Tales TV.
The light is our shield, but what happens when the light fails? Tonight, we expose the horrifying reality behind 3 true stories of terror that begin when the world goes dark. Prepare for the ultimate fear, the Blackout Horror Compilation. The first tale, a cozy night turned catastrophic by a violent thunderstorm. Then the phone rang, an unrecognized number from the local area code. The answer was only silence, but not a deadline. There was background noise, a messy sound like the storm. An hour later, the storm exploded. Thunder, lightning, and heavy rain grew deafening. The lights and TV flickered, then blinked out entirely. The house was plunged into sudden, silent blackness. The whole street was dark. It was a complete blackout, amplifying the storm's fury. Then a new sound, the back gate swinging open in the wind. Through the rain, a shadow of a man was standing in the middle of the backyard, motionless. The figure slowly lifted his arm, bringing a small glowing light to his head. At that exact moment, the phone rang in the other room. It was the same number.
Yes, hello, I'm here.
He had been outside, listening to the rain on the line, stalking the house for an hour. When the victim returned to the door, the man was gone. They had vanished into the storm. The phone rang again, making the victim jump, seconds before a loud, heavy knock came from the front door. Heavy hits shook the walls. The power failure had drawn the intruder to the front. Trapped in the dark, the victim froze, overcome by the surreal combined terror of the storm and the siege.
Please, I need help.
The aggressive assault on the door continued, forcing a frantic call to the police.
Stop! Police, stop
The
right
attack
now!
only ceased when the police arrived, forcing a chase into the rain. The figure escaped, leaving behind only an unnerving truth. The storm didn't hide the killer, it brought him to the door. The second story. Home alone for the weekend, a middle schooler saw a strange man near the garage. He had a distinct look, tall, skinny, long dark hair, and a patchy beard. The witness was uneasy. Later that night, while gaming with a friend, a sudden thump from the floor below stopped everything. Before they could react, the entire house went dark. TV, Xbox, lights, gone. The power was intentionally shut off, likely by the thump they heard. They needed to check the basement breaker box. Oddly, the basement door was already open. With phone flashlights, they descended the creaky wooden stairs into the dark, unfinished basement. The space was dark, a wide corridor with concrete walls and deep shadows. The panel to the electrical box was partially opened. The main switch was flipped to the off position. Hesitantly, the friend flipped the switch back up. The house appliances whirred back to life upstairs. The basement remained dark, lit only by the staircase sliver of light. Then a sudden shuffling sound came from the other side of the corridor. The flashlight beam snapped in that direction, and there he was. The tall, skinny figure with long, dark hair. The man from the morning. He was standing behind the boxes, his face obscured by shadow. They bolted, slamming the door and running right out the front of the house. The lights were now on in every other house on the street. It was targeted terror. As they called 911, the figure moved past a downstairs window, then an upstairs window. He was walking through the house they had just fled. The intruder escaped, but the terrifying intent was clear. He was stalking them, waiting for the perfect opportunity. Our final story takes us deep into the off-grid wilderness of Montana, where isolation is the danger. An old, isolated cabin, powered only by a gas generator, was the victim's retreat. Randomly, an old truck appeared on the dirt trail, stopped, and then left, not once looking back. That night, the victim started a campfire on the porch, enjoying the peaceful forest sounds. Then the lights cut out. The generator had fallen silent. The gas tank was empty. Someone had drained the fuel, knowing it would cut the power. Annoyed but unconcerned, the victim sat back down. Then they saw it. A person, or something that resembled a person, standing motionless among the trees. The quiet ambiance turned eerie. The victim sensed they were being watched. Then a sound to the left, a stick falling or maybe a footstep. The victim looked back to the forest. The single figure was back, then another, and another. Maybe a dozen figures stood motionless between the trees, covered in darkness, all facing the cabin. It was too dark and still to confirm, but after a few minutes the figure vanished. Flight mode activated. The victim sprinted inside and slammed the door. Through the window, the figures were gone, but then came the footsteps. 4 or 5 pairs of heavy boots slowly walked up onto the wooden porch right outside the door. Disturbingly, the entire group was silent, moving with coordinated intent, not talking. 10 minutes passed. The group waited on the porch, anticipating the victim's next move. The victim risked a glance. The porch was empty. They were gone without a sound. Keys in hand, the victim bolted, speeding down the dark, isolated road. The haunting question remains: who was that group, and what did they intend by cutting the power and waiting? These nightmares prove that the true horror is often silence in the darkness. If you dare to face the terror behind the trending, then you've found your home. Subscribe to Terror Tales TV, like this video, and comment. Which true horror story should we investigate next?